it's good to see you join us today. Now, I don't know the thoughts you woke up with, but I woke up with bright thoughts, thinking of ways to impact your life positively, which is what we stand for on Weekend Deal. Now, in today's world where economic fortunes of any nation is dependent on its production strength, entrepreneurship is no doubt the bedrock of all economic revolution of any nation. And when I think of entrepreneurs, you know, the strength, the power, the ability they possess to lead, to manage, and also take consequences is highly commendable. Now, how do we stem the tide of unemployment amongst our teeming youths in Nigeria? Well, we'll be talking about youths and entrepreneurship in Nigeria.
And also on the show today, we shall be drawing attention to wildlife conservation in Nigeria as we take a critical look at how best we can preserve, protect, and promote wildlife parks we have in the country. Also on the show today, we shall be looking at the just concluded 2016-2017 Nigerian Professional Football League, which saw Plateau United emerging champions. And yes, we are going to be discussing on how we can sustain the success we have achieved so far and also build on that, knowing fully that they are into partnership with a lot of organizations in order to promote the league. Welcome once again. My name is Suleiman Babajia Usman.
And my name is Ruth Aguele. Thank you. And we start on this beautiful note because we're celebrating a beautiful woman, vibrant. You know her as Toyin Tomato, the woman who has refused to grow old, Sha Shaba.
You will dance for me.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
Sha Shaba is a superstar Nollywood actress who began her acting career in the 70s. Born in Ondo State, she came from a humble background, brought up mainly within the confines of the school compound where she lived with her parents. Her father was a retired school principal and her mother a retired headmistress. This propelled her to read a lot, which ultimately shaped the course of her life.
Hey! Ah! Maybe they begin not. What are you waiting for? Call the police!
Sha Shaba opted out of College of Education to follow her dream at Ibadan, which was seen as a hub of entertainment in Nigeria back then. Her brother-in-law, Tunji Oyelano, got her enrolled in the University of Ibadan, Department of Music, but Sha later opted for thespian arts and began her acting career under the leadership of Adebayo Salami.
Clara. What are you doing about this, my pregnancy?
No, I told you not to worry. I'm working on a solution to it.
I just want to tell you that we don't have much time.
Sha Shaba has acted in blockbuster movies and series like Dangerous Twins, Family on Fire, and lots more. But Super Story's legendary Old Father, Old Daughter series shot her to limelight, in which she played the role of Tony and was nicknamed Tony Tomato. On this platform, she got an invitation to go to South Africa and Zimbabwe.
Okay, how many times do you want me to tell you my name? My name is Toyin.
Toyin Tomato. Toyin Tomato. What a precious name. Anyway, people call me Swara.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you. Small.
Some years back, Sha Shaba had to put her juicy acting career on hold and relocated with her children beyond the shores of Nigeria. Today, she has scripted, produced, and directed several films, including a 2010 Nigerian film that won a wide fan base. She has to her credit several nominations and awards from national and international bodies like the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, Best of Nollywood Awards, Ghana Niger Music Awards, and a host of others. Shola also featured in The Wedding Party, one of the most sought-after movies in 2016, which also earned her a nomination.
Since I married you where you had nothing. She made me monoman young way about phone. These things are hard. You should have told me. Tintin, Bam, I love you. I love you too. We forgot this together. Okay. I love you. Bam.
Hey! Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Oga.
We are...
What God has joined together.
We are first.
She is no doubt a talented, vibrant and versatile actress who is also running an NGO to help give back to the society. Shola is married and the marriage is blessed with 5 children.
I am ready to marry you.
And I will marry you.
But I am going to stay with you in the house.
Yes.
And I don't want to see any other woman in that house.
Well, Shola Shobowale there, if you like throwing tomato. And her father said she was very, pertinacious growing up. And that's why you can just see how she excelled in the entertainment industry, because that has always been her passion. And then after Oh Father, Oh Daughter, she said that a lot of women walk up to her to say, thank you for interpreting that role very well, because she in a way saved their marriages and the relationship, most especially the relationship that were threatened by, another woman.
Shola is just one woman I admire so much. She gives her all when she's, playing that role. And you just see that passion she exudes.
Ginger.
You were born for it.
You remember that bit? Ginger. Ginger.
Okay, we have to go on a break. We have another discussion, very soon.
Hi, my name is Uche Jumbo. Keep watching Weekend Deal. It's the biggest deal in Africa. Do not touch that dial.
Good to have you back on the deal and on the dial. Let's talk entrepreneurship. New and innovative strategies keep emerging in a bid to sustain and stimulate growth in national economies. And entrepreneurship is one model that is very critical when we talk about the formulation and implementation of the growth of these economies. Now, a survey in Nigeria reveals that there are vibrant, super talented and brilliant young minds who are setting the thrill, and have taken the bull by the horn as a way of contributing their own quota to economic growth. Well, we'll be exploring their world. We have some great minds just joined us in the studio, and we'll be talking about ways to promote entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Let me start by introducing the beautiful lady in the midst of the 2 gentlemen, Miss Tana Dania. She's an educational consultant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ruth.
And also joining her is Mr. Yusuf Abubakar Tumi. He's a fashion entrepreneur, a brand ambassador who is making impact within and outside the shores of Nigeria. We're so proud of you. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Also joining him is Ayobami Akonji. He's a media entrepreneur, a political strategist, also making impact in his own field. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ruth.
We're so proud of you. What can I say? So let me start with you. When you started your business as a fashion entrepreneur, you have styled celebrities, not just in Nigeria, internationally. Oprah Winfrey, network series OWN, you styled them. Bobby Valentino, you're a stylist. Now, did you envisage that remarkable growth when you started?
I mean, for me, when we started at first, I was, I love fashion. I grew up around fashionable people. My mom, my dad, they had their own sense and style of fashion, and my mom is creative as well. She used to draw and all that. So, and pattern cutting was something I grew up around, having those butterfly, what's it called, machines back in the days. So going back, my brand is about 7 years now, more going to 8 years by next year, inshallah. So, you know, because I started with shoes, and because I have awkward feet. So
really? Can I see that? Okay.
Well, when I wear shoes, my toe expands. So my mom doesn't like me wearing the slippers because I cut them. So going back in England, you know, I started making shoes. But I was making the shoes to wear them myself. And I was doing events in Newcastle. I did Afrobeats events where I brought celebrities like Mario down. And, you know, I just thought about it because I was at uni. And then they said we should come up with a, there was this course we were doing. I studied informatics. So we were doing entrepreneurship and creativity. So I thought about doing software because I used to look at myself as one, you know, I want to be like a software engineer, geek, and all that. I love anything computing and gadgets. So I came up with this, the first company, forgetting I had a clothing line. So I came up with this company that had to do with software. So we're doing DFT, which is data flow diagram. And it was because I don't like coding at all. I never liked coding. I only did coding because I want to pass.
Okay.
Because I love coding. And then it was too stressful. So I just thought about it. I was like, yo, but I have a clothing line. And, you know, in the computer course, they said we can bring anything. And then I just envisaged the fact that design, there's every form of design in life. The cars you drive,
yes,
you know, the kind of food you even eat these days, there's decorations and all that, you know. So I just thought, you know what, I'll bring a pearl polo. I brought a pearl polo, I did a presentation, we came up with I started developing my brand, and I've had the brand 2 years prior to that. So I started, this was like 2011, so we started developing the brand and stuff. So I went out, I was wearing my jacket, I met, what's his name, Blackbone, Young Best. Young Best saw me, he was like, yo bro, you're one of those black kids that I've seen and your stuff is so nice. And you're like, whoa, for a footballer in Premier League talking about your clothing. And I was like, yo, this is my card. I already printed my card. I was like, yo, this is my card, take it. So I gave him my card, and then we had Omario. Omario was with me. We had an after party, so I went home. The next morning he called me. I went to his house, first time going to a celebrity house. And I went to the countryside, Pontoon Dock in Newcastle. So because someone calls you, and when he called me, he said, oh, I am Best, we spoke. So like, you know, for some celebrities, they are like, they have this ego thing, you give them your card, they will never get back to you. So I was like kind of shocked, like this dude actually called me. So I called one of my friends, then he was my junior. I said, you know what, accompany me, we're going to. I took some jackets, my shoes.
So cut story short, now, after that experience, your life changed, basically.
Yeah, literally, because it's like, he took my jackets, wore it, he paid me, literally said, you know, he's going to support.
Was that your first pay?
Yeah, that was my first pay. Like, I got like £700.
How did that make you feel?
I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa. So I just took pictures, we took pictures, we exchanged numbers. I had Leon Best's numbers on speed dial. So it was like, and then as soon as I posted it on social media, oh my God, my sales went up. So it was like, oh, Yusuf, even the guys that weren't even talking to me, was like,
started talking to you.
I was like, man,
okay, so I need to hold your thoughts there. Let's hear from Ayobami. He's a co-founder of Switch Media Incorporated. Now, 7 years down the line, you started that company in 2010. And they say ideas are great, but implementation is difficult. Were you hesitant when you started at that time? Were you scared? Because the media is really broad and highly competitive. Were you hesitant, you know, thinking you were not going to make it or come this far?
I wasn't, to be very sincere to you. I think the fact that the media, I felt the competition in the media was actually what attracted me into it.
Okay.
I had my ideas, I made my research, I did my feasibility study to see what was on ground. I saw that what I was thinking about wasn't really what people were doing. Okay. I'm like, fine, I don't have the cash, but I have the ideas. But they say ideas are capital. You need the cash. But I didn't really care about that. I was very disruptive. I pushed my ideas. I was very bold. I was my marketer. I was my CTO. I was the CEO. I was everything at the same time. I wore the entire shoes. I was learning from my errors. I studied French to start with. I had nothing to do with media.
Okay.
But I had a knack for media because I grew up around my parents. They had a lot of magazines and French and all that. So I keep reading those things. I didn't really know what I wanted as a kid. But I grew up with that in my mind. And then I went for a program. I went for a course in France. And I went, So we finished a program, like went for a course. So we're done. And then we're supposed to like have like a get together and all to leave. So I said, why don't I come with an idea of having like a bulletin, a 4-page bulletin, so everyone can have a copy of it and everybody can get to remember what we had when we were here. And I did it, printed it, had pictures and all, and people bought it. I was like, wow, this thing is marketable. So when I got back to my school, I sat down, started my ideas, my own brand. Started pushing it, started moving around for content, going out for parties, going out for shows, all around. You know, it was affecting my studies. At first, my father felt I was derailing from what I was supposed to do. But I was just steadfast, I was focused. And then, hey, here we are.
Yes, here we are. And Tana, you're an educational consultant. Forgive me, I have to say this. You're 21. You're 21, and when you started, you were barely 20. And for me, that is remarkable because within the short period, you have recorded a remarkable success in your business. Now, was there something you did differently?
Well, I don't know if what I've been doing is different from what other entrepreneurs do. But what I know is put in so much effort over the past 8 months.
Yeah.
It's been very hectic. It's been crazy. The days I get to the office by 7 a.m. and close by 10 p.m. And I'll tell you one thing, the educational business is not particularly very easy because it requires a great deal of trust, actually.
Yes.
And most times people don't trust you. I mean, it's like you're...
Is it because they feel you're too young?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The age thing is a factor. And apart from that, it's also something that... it's almost like medicine. Let me put it that way. It's like I'm somebody's doctor, but just in the educational field. In the sense that the times when people actually get to call me by 12 midnight, 2 a.m. probably there's an application deadline, and these people need to go to school. So whether or not I need to sleep, whether or not I need to eat, these people need to go to school and they need to put in some certain documents at a certain time. So I have to be there for them. I have to be available. It's an emotional thing for me. So if I'm trying to get someone an admission and for some reason it's not successful, it's very emotional for me. If someone doesn't get the visa, it's very emotional for me. So it's an emotional process. It's a process that takes I'll just say trust, basically. So these people trust me that I'm going to be able to take them to the next level, and I have to live up to that.
Okay.
Now, what I would say was a reason for the fast growth was actually the success in such a little time.
Was it your determination to just thrive?
Yes, I could say that. But again, I would also say that the educational business is based on a lot of referrals.
Yes.
So when you're successful with one person, the person brings all your family, brings your friends, and all of that, and then your business.
You make it sound so rosy, but I know you encountered some challenges. But let's get back to you, Yusuf. Now, we get to see a lot of youths complain today that there is no job. And I like what Ayo said about he didn't wait, he didn't have the capital, because that is a major challenge for a lot of young people out there. But how do we begin to change the mindset of our teeming youths, to see the need and the value for self-reliance and make things happen the way you guys are making things happen?
I mean, there's this thing I've always put in mind. Be a yardstick of quality. And some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected, except for cash.
Yes.
I've always looked at business as not exchange of cash, but services. So I might have something Hire doesn't have. Hire has a talent that I don't have. We do trade by barter and make growth. But sometimes there's this, a lot of young folks like us, we have this short success span. They want to make you want to start something right now and be like Jay-Z tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. So if there will be more collaboration, I feel if there will be more collaboration, exchange of services, and try and work together, a lot of things would work better, as opposed to I know say for instance Tanya is very good with educations and concept, and I have a module that would work. Why don't we collaborate together and see how it works? That is one problem. I mean, moving back to Nigeria, I moved back 2015, and that's one problem I've encountered, even amongst the youth. So we don't actually help ourselves genuinely to grow.
Yes.
Our fathers actually did help themselves to grow. That's why they are where they are, and that's why they can step on us right now.
So, Ayo, I know you're a political strategist and you do content strategy. That is your expertise. Now, if we look at growing entrepreneurship in Nigeria, what strategy should be implemented? How were you able, to surmount your challenges to get this far?
Well, you have to have a thick skin, first of all.
Okay.
One thing that is important, is very paramount, is that you need to have your ideas into your head. Know the void, have your niche, and then know your audience. Once you have that already, you've passed like stage 1, 2, 3 already.
Okay.
And then know how you can connect within what you have and what they have. Entrepreneurs in the country are facing a lot of challenges from finance, like what he said. Like with the young ones, we bring ourselves down. Our parents, they were building bridges to actually move across. But me, I might be moving, but someone else wants to bring that. But care about, just have a thick skin. Take it on the crocodile if possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Then have your vision really clear. And work on it. Like I started strategizing on politics. Well, I read a lot of books about top strategies in the world. I read books about top presidents. There's a guy I read about. His name is Craig Smith. This guy has worked behind the scene to make 54 presidents in the world. I'm like, what's he doing? It's just strategy. And how does he do around the strategy? Get your models, get data, get human perspective, get human emotions. Put the entire things together. Sell a human being like a product. I'll sell you like Coke or Fanta right now, but you're a human, but you'll make your product.
Not me.
No, I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
So you really have to be very confident in what you're doing and know what you're doing. We're all here to be equal. Like they say, all men are made equal in the eyes of the law and the Lord. So anything you want to be excellent, like you're saying, excellent is true, but it has to be true with you.
Yes.
You have to believe you can actually achieve it. People are here. We've seen examples of Don Jazzy, for example, who was quite old, who left the UK, came out to Nigeria, but today, where you see, he's doing really very fine.
Yes.
MI, Ice Prince, this is entertainment. Tana is doing excellently well here.
Yes, and yes, and
So,
the determination, I know, is very critical, Tana. And if we look at, Ayo said something about knowledge, getting that self-development. Now, would you say that education is enough for someone to become an entrepreneur?
No, education is not enough for someone to be an entrepreneur. You can be very educated and not have ideas, like he said, and you can be very educated and not have the drive. The most important thing is the ideas. That's one, and two, the drive. If you do not have the ideas, well, there's nothing to push in the first place. And even if you have the ideas and you don't have the drive, you can't even push the ideas through. So I would say that for you to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be very determined, and you have to also think.
Okay, Yusuf, if you have an opportunity to change something today, looking back, if there were things you didn't do right, what will it be?
I have no regrets whatsoever.
Okay.
I just feel like, to be honest, I think every phase in my life has actually molded me into someone or something.
Yeah.
So like, I don't like to think of regrets or anything, but if I would truly want to be something different, I would want to be invisible. I think so. If there's anything I really want to be, it's being invisible. But in terms of changing the phases I've been through in my life, I think that made me either Apero Polo, the Watch Lord, or Mr. Toomey. Those are what made who I am today. So from my parents' experience, from growing up, around this, trying to say, you're good. So no, I'll never change anything. I think those are the qualities that made, that's molded me, even with the economic situation as well. So,
And talking about the economic situation and unemployment in the country, Ayo, how would you encourage that young person watching you right now on the need to believe in their dreams? Because we see lots of talents just go down the drains because of one thing or the other.
Yeah, well, that's true. I think one of the issues that makes young talent actually go down the drain is finance. You have a good idea, you go to the bank and they tell you that you're giving you a loan at double interest.
Yes.
That's so much.
Yes.
We need to see how we can bring that down to a single interest. But you see, aside that, our population is our wealth. China today is about, they have close over 1 billion people there. China consumes what they make and they make what they consume.
Okay.
So the market is there, the economy is strong, the wealth is there, the jobs are there. They have their own social media, they have their own Twitter, they have their own Google, their own Facebook. They don't go to Facebook that we go to. So Nigerians back here should begin to think of, and that's why I really commend the government. The government is pushing the entire Made in Nigeria product, which is very, very important. We need to begin to feed ourselves. Clothes we wear, let it be made here.
That's where you're breeding more entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you are. You're empowering more people. You're creating more jobs. People know there's no more. We don't really go. Well, no one has time to be idle, to be a miscreant in society. Everybody's busy doing one thing or other, adding value to the country, adding value to the economy, making the country progress, and make the country become the leader in Africa, which is what we're actually having behind our minds.
Tana, we're about to go, but let's hear from you. If you have to change anything, you know, you're still building an empire. Would you choose not being an entrepreneur or still be an entrepreneur?
Are you kidding me right now?
With the millions she's making.
I mean, no. Why would I stop being an entrepreneur?
Okay.
I've actually worked. I've worked for people, worked in private firms, worked in advertising, worked in even education sector for a while, and even worked in the medical field because I'm actually a biochemist.
Okay.
So, I would say that this is an experience, a roller coaster experience, and it's 1 in a million. Every day I keep experiencing life. I keep understanding how things go, and it's wonderful actually. The fact that I can start something up and watch it grow and push for it to grow some more is it's wonderful. I would never trade that for anything else.
Thank you so much, guys. Yusuf, I know you want to add something, but we have to go. But you said something back then in an interview that you're still looking for a creative lady because you don't do for female. Have you found her?
No, not yet.
You have one here.
All right.
All right, just kidding, because I love fashion, actually. So we've been talking to Mr. Yusuf Abubakar Toumi. He's a brand ambassador, a fashion entrepreneur, making great impact. Thank you so much.
Cheers,
Thank you. And keep up the good work. Keep making Nigeria proud.
Thank you very much.
Also, the beautiful Tana Dania, an educational consultant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been nice having you here. I know you want to go on. She's very passionate about what she does. And also the political strategist and also chief strategist, Switch Media Incorporated, a political consultancy firm, and co-founder Lakon Carter Limited, Ayobami Akonji. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're so proud of you guys. So keep up the good work. Yes, and nobody says it was going to be easy talking about being an entrepreneur. And it's not about ideas, it's about making ideas happen. Scott Belksky. Let's go on a break, and when we come back, more for you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you for staying with us. And yes, it has been exciting so far on the show, and that is exactly what we promised after the news. Let's join Fatima Umar Buba for that. Good morning, Fatima. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Suleiman. It's always good to see you and Ruth on Weekend Deal. Yes, you're welcome to the Newsbeat on Weekend Deal. My name is Fatima Umar Buba. In what appears as an endorsement of the Declaration of Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, as a terrorist group by the military, the Southeast governors rose from a crucial meeting in Enugu, prescribing all activities of the group in the southeast of Nigeria.
The Southeast governors were joined by political leaders in the zone for the meeting, at the end of which they prescribed all activities of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in the region. This came on the heels of clashes engineered by the group. IPOB insurgency had paralyzed socio-economic activities in the Southeast region in the past weeks. Governor David Umahi articulated the decisions of the governors.
In view of the prevailing security situation in the Southeast and its attendant consequences, the Southeast governors hereby resolve as follows. All activities of IPOB are hereby prescribed. IPOB and all other agreed groups are advised to articulate their position on all national issues and submit to the Committee of Governors of Southeast, Ohanese Ndigo, and National Assembly member from Southeast Zone through the Chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. All governors of Southeast Zone are to ensure compliance in their respective states. The Southeast Governors Forum, Ohanese Ndigo, and National Assembly members do hereby reinforce their commitment to a united and indivisible Nigeria.
The governors also resolved that the group, which had been declared a terrorist organization by the military, should channel its grievances, if any, to the Committee of Governors, Ohanese Ndibo, and National Assembly members from the Southeast Zone.
Southeast governors have taken concrete steps to protect lives and property of non-indigenous in the Southeast. I repeat, that Southeast governors have taken concrete steps to protect lives and property of non-indigenous in the Southeast, and of course including the lives and property of indigenous in the Southeast as well. We are in touch with the Northern Governors Forum, and they have assured us of the safety of all our people living in the North. And we have also planned for exchange of visits between the governors. This is to reinforce the confidence of Nigerians in this regard. In keeping with our earlier position, we wish to assure Nigerians that full investigation is ongoing on all allegations of killings, maiming, and other unlawful conduct in the Southeast Zone within this period. The governors and the security agencies are in agreement that appropriate action will be taken against anyone found culpable.
The governors reassured the public that the governorship election, scheduled for November 18th in Anambra State, must hold.
And Governor Nyesom Wike has denounced the recent activities of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in Oyigbo and warned them to stay away from Rivers State while urging all other law-abiding residents to go about their normal duties. The governor stated this in a state broadcast to the people and residents of Rivers State.
As a people, we shall continue to support the unity and peaceful coexistence of all ethnic nationalities and work towards actualizing our collective aspirations. For while we commend the security agencies, especially Nigerian police, for their commitment to security of lives, property and investments in the state, we are constrained once again to condemn in clear terms the deliberate sabotage of the state security architecture by the direct criminal activities of the Rivers State Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS.
In the meantime, the Islamic community in Rivers State has condemned the attack and vandalization of a mosque in Oyigbo, local government area of Rivers State. Vice President of the Rivers State Council of Islamic Affairs, Alhaji Nasir Uhor, described the attack as premeditated, unprovoked, and unwarranted. Moving on now. In the wake of the situation in the southeast of the country, the FCT Minister, Mohammed Musa Bello, rising from an emergency FCT Security Committee meeting, has appealed to residents in the nation's capital to go about their lawful duties without fear of molestation. He said all machinery are in place to ensure security of lives and properties in the territory. Mitarik Beng reports.
The emergency FCT security meeting was to review the situation in the southeast and its implications for residents of the Federal Capital Territory as the center of unity. The FCT minister appealed to residents to ignore messages of disaffection in the social media, but continue to live in peace and harmony.
In the FCT, almost every tribe, religion, and culture is here, and we live harmoniously. And that's why I want to call upon our brothers and sisters, especially those from the southeast, to live here peacefully and continue to go about their trade, their commerce, and their life peacefully. The laws of the land are very clear. Whoever foments trouble will be arrested, and life and property will be protected.
The new FCT Police Commissioner Abubakar Sadiq Bello said all security agencies in the territory are in synergy and sharing intelligence to nip any threat in the bud.
I believe by the grace of God, we'll be able to stop any threat to peace in FCT.
Religious and traditional leaders also pledged to preach peace to their followers and to sustain the status of FCT as center of unity. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
In an effort to take precautionary measures against breakdown of law and order following security breaches in some parts of the country, Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura has set up a security command center in Lafia. This is after an emergency meeting between the governor and all heads of security agencies as well as leaders of Igbo community in the state. Joshua Ojito reports.
The meeting with representatives of all security agencies in the state was at the instance of Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura to review security situation and map out strategies to sustain the existing peace in the state. Parts of decisions reached was to dedicate telephone lines at the Security Command Center for distress calls and intelligence gathering, while security personnel have been deployed to all flashpoints. The State Deputy Governor Silas Agara briefed newsmen shortly after the meeting.
We will be interfacing at intervals with all the security chiefs in the state. People should not exercise any fear. People should go about their duties. And our security agents will be going around town to patrol and to assure our people that there's nothing to be worried about.
Meanwhile, Governor Almakura also met with representatives of Igbo community in the state, where he reassured them of adequate security of lives and property. Hence, all ethnic nationalities residing in the state should go about their lawful businesses.
The meeting has given the Igbo community the needed assurance to continue to live in peace, to continue to do their business, and without any fear of molestation or any threat from any quarter.
The meetings are coming on the heels of security situations in some parts of the country. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
All right, away from security now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the youth of the country is the greatest asset, which gives the ray of hope. The Nigeria as a nation will not fail. The Vice President was speaking at the unveiling of a motivational book in Abuja titled Activating Success. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says he is impressed with the abundance of talent, creativity, and endless flow of energy among Nigerian youths.
I'm extremely proud of our country, and I very strongly believe that our country is certainly going to be a great nation, a great country, and it's not going to depend on many of us. It's going to depend on a lot of the very young people who are here, who are multitasking, who are creative, and people who are able to do something and stick with it for long enough.
The Vice President, however, said for the country to be great, its people must exhibit love for one another.
If Christians, you and I, if we practice our faith, especially that very contrarian principle, love your enemy, if we did, this country will be so much a better place.
Vice President Osinbajo commended author of the book, Love Idoko, for her hard work, resilience, and the urge to motivate others to achieving success. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Ogun State government has reiterated its commitment to facilitate all-around development in all sectors of the state by ensuring even spread of resources and human capital development. Governor Ibikunle Amosun gave the assurance at the official groundbreaking ceremony of the Ogun State Polytechnic, Ipokia. Lekon has the details.
We want to take advantage of our position as an educational hub to meet the personal demands of the growing industrial economy, especially as science and technology scale. We continue to be in greater demand across our dear state and even across Nigeria.
And now to sports. Nigeria's Falconets began their qualification for the FIFA Women's World Cup on a promising note as Africa Boxing Confederation Vice President Sha of World Champions in Nigeria, Adeola Omokive, has details on Sports Update.
The week-long IBA Year of Africa 2017 developmental program for coaches, referees and judges and new entrants to boxing ended in Lagos, with the participants eager to practicalize what they have been taught. Vice President, Africa Boxing Confederation, expressed confidence that Nigeria will in the nearest future produce world and Olympic boxing champions after observing the participants.
The coaches take another 2 stars to be 2 stars. That's very good. That's very good for Nigeria.
The Nigerian Communications Commission's Tennis League in the Lagos zone saw home side take 3 out of the 4 points on matches played Saturday at the tennis section of the National Stadium, Lagos, working hard to improve on their last 2 home outings. Sponsor of the league expressed satisfaction with their level of play.
Some of the skills that are discovered there, the talent, is also perhaps maybe from this display they can get sponsorship for international competition.
The 2015 AfroBasket defending champions, Nigeria's D Tigers, relinquished their title to Tunisia on Saturday as they lost by 77 to 65 points in the hard-fought final. Senegal beat Morocco 73 to 62 points to take the 3rd position. On match day 1 of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier, Nigeria's Falconets thrashed visiting Tanzania by 3 unreplied goals at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City on Saturday. The return leg is expected to hold in Dar es Salaam on October 1. While the aggregate winner will face either Morocco or Senegal in the next round to qualify for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup to be hosted by France in 2018. And in the Week 5 of the English Premier League matches played Saturday, it was a 6-0 bashing for Watford at home by visiting Manchester City. Newcastle beat Stoke City 2-1, while Liverpool, Huddersfield and West Brom drew their matches. With Sports Updates, Adeola Omokive, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adeola. Next is a look at the weather prospect.
Welcome to the weather segment. So much for the unpredictability of weather in a varying climate. At a time when rains over the extreme north should be getting sparse, we notice a resurgence in propagating weather systems as reflected here, giving copious rainfall amounts to Kano, Katsina, and Sokoto axis. A good supply of moist southwesterly winds flowing into the country and feeding into these weather systems here give good prospects of rainfall activities come Sunday. Thunderstorms and rains are likely over most parts of the country. Areas expected to have copious rainfall amounts include Sokoto Yelwa axis, Yobe, Sambisa, Adamawa, Bauchi, Jos, Benue, Nasarawa, the Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, Kaduna, Niger, the inland areas of the southwest, and the coastal parts of the country. Climate temperatures should attend these weather events. And here is the temperature profile.
And that's it on the news this morning. Is now back to Ruth and Suleiman for the continuation of Weekend Deal. It's over to you.
Thank you very much, Fatima Umar Buba, for the AM News. And thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Weekend Deal, Africa's biggest deal. Let's get more news from the papers. And I'm starting with Tribune. Now, just below the masthead states, Chief Justice of Nigeria to High Court Chief Judge. Don't bow to intimidation. You get the details on page 45. And next to that, recall, Dino Melaye evades service of court documents as INEC seeks substituted service. Details you find on page 42. And the leading story, classification of the indigenous people of Biafra as terrorist group. Defense headquarters pitches south against north. Opinion poll reveals. PDP or Zekome, Igbo groups, others kick. Arewa Consultative Forum Lords action. Revealed why Southeast governors dumped IPOB. All the details you find on page 4. Let's come below that now. IPOB, normalcy returns in the north as Igbo open shops for business. Arewa Forum salutes Nigerians for maintaining peace. You'll find that story on page 6. And just below that is saying, tension in Delta over killing of 4 northern traders. Arewa community appeals to members for calm as police arrest 2 suspects. You get the details again on page 6. Restructuring, that's just below the picture story there. PDP knocks APC's public hearing, says it's a delay tactic. Hate speech cost you 2015 elections, APC. All the details you find on page 4 and 45. 90,000 farmers affected by flood in Benue, Farmers Group. All the details on page 7. That's the outlook for Tribune. Let's move on now. Independence is next. And just above the masthead is saying, Nigeria requires 79.5 billion naira to meet palm oil consumption. You'll find the details on page A10. I will stamp out indiscipline in CAC, that's Christ Apostolic Church, or Ladeji. Details you find on page D3. Python Dance 2, that's the leading story. Kanu's whereabouts still unknown. National Human Rights Commission, PDP, Ijaw Youth Council faults military on terrorist declaration. Jonathan calls for NCS intervention. You get the details on page A3. Let's come below the picture story there. Ibadan Chieftaincy, newly crowned kings in order. Otun Olubadan. Olubadan supported our elevation from beginning. All the details you find from page A11. One last story. How Mining Council will grow sector, fire me. All the details on page A4. That's the outlook for Independent. And the last paper here with me is Telegraph. Let's go above the masthead. Native Insurance, robbers return stolen car, dance stark naked in viral video. You get the details on page 44. Chief Justice of Nigeria, why I swore in Chief Judge on Saturday. The details you find on page 6. IPOB not terror group. EU, that's the European Union, cautions Nigerian military against suppression of democratic rights. Kanu petitions UN, others. All the details you find on page 5. Let's go to the leading story now. Adebanjo on Southeast crisis. Gowon IBB should stop Buhari. Reach out to ex-presidents, governors, Jonathan. Operation Python Dance is field training exercise, Army. IPOB will put 11.7 million Igbo in danger, Umahi. Nigeria heading towards war, Ezeife. Federal government failed to act on time, Balarabe Musa. Tension in Delta as gunmen kill 4, FCTA beefs up security. All the details you find inside the paper. Sinking mansions, Victoria Garden City residents panic, landlords shop for buyers. Many houses fail integrity test, building engineer. Terrifying cracks, stagnant pools of water in homes. 3 buildings demolished within a week. Oga abandoned home, domestic staff. All the details you find on page 8 and 9. That's the outlook for the Telegraph. Suleiman.
I'm starting with Sunday Sun, and just beside the main flag, after wasting 150 lives, serial killer shot, begged for life. Details of that can be found on page 8. Now, before the main story to the left, we have 2019 main behind Buhari, El Rufai, Amosun, Oyegun. Others insist on president despite the odds. Now to the leading story, Army IPOB clash, confusion over Kanu's whereabouts. IPOB leader missing spokesman. He is not in hiding, group's top leader. Military says not in our custody. IPOB not terrorist group, Oaneze. Details of that can be found on page 46. Create additional state in southeast to end agitation, says Kalu. Details of that can be found on page 46. Now, Ruth, this is an interesting story coming from Simi. Nigeria may not romantic, Simi singer.
You tell us.
No, that's our opinion. I don't believe in that.
Okay.
Now to sport. We start with Rooney to hunt Red Devils. Of course, they'll be playing Manchester United much later. Payback time. Conte squares up to Wenger at the bridge. Bale €100 million Real switch changed my game. Details of that can be found on page 6. Brilliant. City humiliates Watford. Of course, Watford lost that encounter 6-0. CAF Women Under-20 World Cup qualifier. Nigeria humbles Tanzania. Details of that can be found on page 2. And on the back page, Messi happy, Barca offloaded Neymar. Russia 2018, Enacho Rose, Zambia can't stop us. Of course. Sampras, the tennis legend, tips Murray to bounce back. Details of that can be found on the back page. And that is the much we can take from the papers, except if there's any interesting story.
I'm just reading Yola Edoche's story from Tribune. You know, he's contesting from an upcoming Anambra governorship election.
Interesting.
And he says, age is on my side. I will win. He's positive under the Democratic People's Congress, DPC.
Not too young to run, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay, let's move on now. We take our Rise and Stir, and it's all about a comedian. He calls himself Toothpick. I wonder why that name.
Born of an evangelist mother and a clergyman as a father, Joshua John can be said to be a church boy, especially as a kid. Today, his immense talent has made him carve a niche for himself in the world of comedy.
If I will see one chop, you go keep quiet. Repeat yourself, please, Ogano best. You share it 50-50. Oh, yeah. He said this man will be saying, no, you are better than the wallest. I am not greedy. You, when you be saying, are you active in wallest? Wallest. That is one active. You can't be, I love you. Only that is one active.
Joshua John, popularly known as MC Toothpick, is from Ondo State. He is the second child in a family of 5 children and holds a national diploma from the Lagos Aviation and Maritime Business College, where he read accounting and worked for a while before he decided to go with his passion. Today, MC Toothpick is an actor and comedian, doing more of comedy skits. But why the name MC Toothpick?
My stature speaks. If you see me that time, you pity my condition.
MC Toothpick, who is deeply into comedy, says it is a gene he inherited.
I got this my folk comic act from my grandma. Hey, she did for me.
Although his father did not buy into his idea of comedy initially, MC Toothpick says every member of his family supports him today.
Whenever I get home, I say, Daddy, take. That time, you come Toothpick, your friend find you come, like, Daddy, Mama is the fine, you don't Toothpick. Sometimes you call me Aboki, call me. So, the response from my family has been good. They've been supportive.
When he is not doing comedy, MC Toothpick tells us his other engagements.
I'm always indoor. I relax when I have my phone with me and there's light. I chill with my phone. I'm crazy for football. I watch football a lot.
And for the comedy skits he does, he is always playing the role of Aboki, a character many believe can be interpreted better by no other. He tells us where and how he draws his inspiration.
What happened in the streets, what I read on Facebook, a lot of people post things and they didn't know that this post is very useful. What you talk? I said me blow my eye now, not the entire with the PPV. Where can I blow? Me blow. I talk I say blow but the time give you one, go here by ability.
Like every rising star, MC Toothpick sure has those he looks up to in the business of making people laugh.
I look up to a man called Clint the Drunk. I tried to use his style before. Later, I got to discover myself. Then in stand-up comedy, I have this guy called Koloman and Mr. Ibu and Sophia, these guys.
MC Toothpick says he has had both the negative and positive touch of life in the course of doing comedy. He shares his happiest and most memorable time yet in the industry.
The day I was nominated for African Magic's Viewers' Choice Award as the best actor in comedy category. And our series was just, how many months? Not even up to 6 months.
And no doubt, he knows his destination, which he believes will happen in a few years from now.
That money that God is going to give me through this my talent, I want to use it to help people. I want to see myself at the top of my game, that to be first to reckon with in the world, and to have an NGO where, help people.
We wish MC Toothpick all the best in life. It is, however, hoped that the name MC Toothpick will still aptly define him physically when he hits the limelight of success.
MC Bluetooth,
Toothpick.
MC Toothpick,
But there's also
yes,
MC Bluetooth.
Yes, that's where the confusion, comes. Carving a niche for himself in the entertainment industry is doing really well, and this is someone who has been able to, search for, discover, and make friends with his creative muse, which is very important, going forward. And I love the fact that, is making ways for himself, not really, attending shows, but the social media is really pushing his art.
And that's the amazing thing you get to see these days, talking about the skits they come up with. And I'm just wondering, how do they come up with those ideas? And you just see the videos go viral. And that's one way it could just shoot you to stardom.
Definitely. And I think I kind of
I'm not going to blow that eye.
I don't even need you to. Okay, let's move on now. Some times back, Ruth actually had a wonderful time visiting Abuja, Wildlife Park, and then it was really interesting. And after this bit, we're going to have a conversation on the need to preserve, protect, and promote wildlife parks in Nigeria.
World Wildlife Day is a day set aside every year March 3rd to celebrate and create awareness of the world wild fauna and flora. And today I am at the National Park headquarters in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to explore this exceptional place. So let's find out the kind of wild animals that has been conserved here for our future purpose. My name is Ruth Aguele. Together, let's explore. At the National Park, they preserve and protect the nation's natural heritage, which are wildlife, animals, and indigenous plant species, in order to memorialize them across generations. On my arrival, it was a warm reception, but I'm hoping the animals here will also be friendly to me. Well, we will soon find out. There are other national parks across Nigeria in 7 different states, which include the Kanji Lake, Gashaka Gumti, Old Oyo, Chad Basin, Cross River National Park, Kamuku located in Birnin Gwari, and Okomu located in Ovia, southwest local area of Edo State. The National Park headquarters has different sections. The mini park is stocked with wild animal species such as duiker, gazelle, kob, crocodile, porcupine, and ostrich. I love adventure, but I can't do this alone.
Hello.
So let's go in together.
Anybody here?
Yes.
Hello, sir.
You are welcome. This is the mini park in the National Park headquarters. The animal species we have in our various national parks all over the country for people to come and see them.
Oh, they're running.
They are running. It's the biggest bird we have.
I was also made to understand that most of the animals went into hiding on sight in our cameras. On the contrary, I am supposed to be the one hiding.
So there are snakes here?
There are snakes here. They are part of the ecosystem.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
And you lead the way. You will lead the way.
Okay. So during a hot sun as you are now, most of the animals are there. But as we are going, if you look at some of the shady places, you may see some of the animals resting.
Okay.
Are you with me? But if you have come as early as in the morning, you see them grazing and browsing. Or late evening, you see them browsing. See it there. It has gone very far. As a duiker, the ability of that animals to the environment to which you are bringing it.
Okay.
Secondly, the essence of the mini park is to showcase some of the sample of animals we have in the various national parks across the country. However, in bringing them, we know we have different species of animals. The one we brought it are friendly animals. Like the grey duiker, as you can see, is a small antelope. The standinko is a medium-sized antelope. So most of the animals we have is the dwarf crocodile. And we have different species of crocodile, and we have the Nile crocodile.
This is the porcupine's cage. I need to see what it looks like. What do you think?
Wait.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Ouch. Sorry. Bend down. Bend down. Here, you see the animal. Bend and see there. You may.
Are we getting them very well?
Out of the mini park, I headed for the animals' orphanage. Interestingly, animals too have an orphanage.
Take this one. You take this one. Take this one.
It has animals that are rescued from poachers and sometimes donated to the park by people who are nature-friendly.
We don't buy, we don't sell. All these animals were being confiscated from other parks for rehabilitation and for future purposes.
Okay.
So that the incoming children will know how the animals look like when they grow up. But if we don't confiscate them, they will all die and we will not have wildlife here. We will not know how the monkey look like when we get to the future.
This tortoise is 162 years old. History is always important and interesting when it's been told, which leads us to the Museum of Natural History. It exhibits a wide range of historical wildlife trophies and artifacts on various wildlife animals. The Arboretum has mainly indigenous plant species that are being conserved for genetic resources. Wildlife animals serve as vehicles for the development of ecotourism, scientific research, and educational development.
All right, that was me there having a great time at the National Park here in Abuja, and that's quite some time, you know, but let's talk about the preservation, conservation, and protection of wildlife in Nigeria. Now, with the rise in hunting, deforestation, and encroachment of animal species by man, the need to conserve, preserve, and protect our wildlife is mandatory. We have the Conservator General here already seated to talk further about this crucial issue. Please help us welcome Ibrahim Musa Goni, Conservator General, National Park Service of Nigeria. Nigeria. And good to see you after 3 years.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's quite...
He was actually my tour guide back then.
And I understand that she actually fainted after...
Suleiman, do you have to say that?
Seriously?
Yeah.
You were there?
That was about in 2015.
Yes.
Okay. To be precise, she came and I conducted her on a guided tour.
Okay.
Around the mini park, the arboretum.
Yes.
The museum.
I had a good time. Only I just passed out. The park was so wide, and and I didn't go prepared with water. So that's why. All right, so let's get back to the main issue, talking about protecting, preserving, and conserving wildlife in Nigeria. We're blessed with it.
Very
But
blessed.
how well have we fared so far?
So far, so good. Nigeria has fared very well. The directive of the United Nations that every country should have 25% of its land area under forest cover.
Okay.
Nigeria has tried, despite the odds. You have talked about hunting, you have talked about deforestation. Despite all these odds, Nigeria is able to register about 5%.
5%.
Some countries just about 3%, though some, like Korea, has about 16%.
Okay.
So that is why I said Nigeria has fared well.
Okay.
There is need to do more.
Okay.
Because this country has about 1,024 game reserves and forest reserves.
1,024 in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, game reserve and forest reserves, and 7 national parks.
Okay.
It is the total of this that gives you the 5%.
The 7, is it inclusive with Abuja?
Abuja does not have a national park.
Okay.
In the real definition of a national park, Abuja does not have a national park.
So what do you call
3
the one in Abuja?
3 years ago, when you visited the headquarters of the National Park Service,
okay,
where we have what we call a mini park.
Okay.
Just like a zoological garden, just like a wildlife park, similar to what obtains in Jos. That is exactly where you are conducted around.
Okay.
It is not a national park.
Okay.
A national park is a natural ecosystem with 3 unique attributes. 1, it must be a small or large area where the ecosystem is not materially altered by human occupation or habitation, and where the plants, animals, geomorphic resources are of special significance.
Okay, now as a CG of National Park Service of Nigeria, I'm sure your objective is to see that we increase this percentage to maybe close to that 25 in the nearest future. But why have the numbers when you cannot even maintain what you have, the 5% now? What is the state of our national parks today in Nigeria?
The states or status of our national park is they are well protected. The problems we are having are these game reserves and forest reserves, like I've told you.
Okay.
Of the 1,024 forest and game reserves, if they are to be re-evaluated today, you will realize that about 70% are just paper parks and game reserves.
What about infrastructure, in terms of infrastructure?
In the national parks?
Yes.
The level of infrastructural development in the national park is not encouraging, to be candid with you, because if we are to compare ourselves with what obtains in other countries, the global standard, Nigeria needs to do more. And the federal government is not resting on its oars. That is why the National Council on Privatization has slated 3 national parks for partial commercialization so that the facilities can be improved.
Okay, how is that coming up now, the partial commercialization?
It is currently the National Park Service Act 46 of 1999 is being proposed for review,
okay,
to be able to accommodate this aspect of commercialization and partial commercialization. And the National Council on Privatization, headed by the Vice President, has just of recent approved that Gashaka Gumti National Park, Kanji Lake National Park, and of course Cross River National Park be slated as experiment.
Okay.
You know, I like the fact you mentioned the Cross River one, because we know that they have, you know, different species of butterflies there.
Yeah.
Very unique park.
Yes.
And if we look at our tourism potential, have we really explored it in terms of our wildlife, our national parks?
This is what has been giving us sleepless nights in the National Park Service. Because the resources are there. The willingness of Nigeria to come visiting is not encouraging. And tourism cannot thrive without domestic tourism.
And why do you think is responsible for that, the willingness of Nigerians to patronize some of these parks?
So many reasons could be responsible for that. One, it could be our attitude. We do not take recreation as serious.
Okay.
The man in UK can save just to be able to go on holiday somewhere.
Okay.
True.
Do we have that culture?
True. We even travel out of Nigeria to go visit all the parks.
To visit, we travel out of Nigeria, neglecting what we have.
But CG,
and this is why I think this government is doing a lot as far as the local content is concerned.
But some will argue with you that, okay, fine, there's not enough for them, you know, to attract them. What really are you doing extra to drive that traffic to national parks?
What we are doing currently, we have gone into collaboration with the National Orientation Agency, so as to be able to sensitize our populace, get them informed about the resources that are lying down there, and encourage them to make visits to national park a household affair.
Okay.
And also to key into the local content agenda of the government, so that you utilize what you have instead of leaving your resources and going outside.
And I know
encouraging
that
capital flight.
Yes, and I know that CG in South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, they generate revenue from these parks. And for Nigeria, if we're looking at that direction, before we even start thinking of generating revenue and making it a tourist attraction, in terms of protecting this wildlife is also critical. You know, how much awareness is being done to encourage and enlighten the public that there is need to preserve and protect this wildlife?
The preservation, protection has been with us since time immemorial.
Okay.
But the concept has changed by the use of the word conservation. Because when you preserve, you protect, you don't utilize.
Yes.
So in order to integrate the aspect of utilization, the concept of conservation now comes in. It means even though the resources are there, being preserved and protected, they can still be utilized.
Yes.
Okay. That is why you see that national parks are critical to medicine, national parks are critical to agriculture, and national parks are critical to even the hydrological cycle.
Okay.
Because the plants are filtrate. So villages that stays around the park get more fresh water, more fresh air than the cities.
And I know in mini park here in Abuja, there's a section for research for plants, you know, that could be used for research. Are people exploring that part?
A lot of people are exploring that facility.
Okay.
And the concept there is to have a prototype of what obtains in the national park.
Okay.
So that if a visitor by chance comes in, does not have the time to go to any national park, by the time you take him to the mini park, he sees, I'm sure when you were there, you saw some antelopes.
Yes.
You saw snakes, which scared
No,
you.
I was scared of the snakes,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to see any of them.
So these are things a visitor can readily see. And it gives you an idea of what a national park looks like. When the vegetation is dry there, you should know that the vegetation is dry in any savanna area. When the vegetation is flourishing, green, you should know that the vegetation in any savanna area is flourishing green. When there's regeneration after burning, you should also know that there's regeneration after burning in any of the national parks that in the savanna area.
What about the challenge of poachers? How are you dealing with that?
The poaching.
Yes.
Yes. When you say poaching, I know your mind is cast on just exterminating animals.
No, yes, I'm talking
But
about
poaching,
people who poach
poaching
these
is beyond
animals.
that.
Okay.
Poaching is beyond that.
Okay.
You can poach plants. You can poach bees, honey bees.
Okay.
You can poach fish.
Hmm.
So, depending on what you are poaching.
Okay.
However, for animals, I think the incidence of poaching is not as fearful to us as the degradation of the ecosystem, habitat destruction.
Okay.
Because when you poach, you pick just an animal. But when you destroy the habitat, you are destroying the habitat of a colony or a group of animals, forcing them to either migrate to other places.
Yes.
In the process of migration, they become easy prey. They are either killed, captured, or the whole population can be wiped out by disease. So for us in the national park, poaching is not as fearful to us as habitat destruction.
You have enough manpower to deal with that?
That we do not have.
Okay.
To be candid with you, that we do not have. And that is why we are working towards the 2018 budget.
Okay.
Both with the ministry, that is our supervisor, and the National Assembly to increase our staff strength.
Of course, we have laws, guiding biodiversity in Nigeria right before independence. But now, I'm not sure if these laws are active or being implemented.
Thank you very much, Suleiman. Yes, before independence, on the colonial time, even the pre-colonial time, the colonial time, post-colonial time, there are local laws, edicts, and other even edict, and sometimes producing gazettes for some edicts. These laws are there. Some of these laws are regional laws.
Okay.
Like then you have the Western region laws, wild animals law, which came about around the 1955. Then by 1963, you have the wild animals law of the northern region. That led to the establishment of Yankari Game Reserve, the famous Yankari Game Reserve.
I've been there.
Yes, you've been there. Then the East also has her own wild animals law of also, I think, 1962. 1962 or thereabout. So these regional laws, when states were created, some states looked at these regional laws, updated them, abrogated some, and in their place put down new laws. Some states are still operating with those laws. That is why you find out that, for example, if an elephant is killed in a particular region, the fine then is just maybe about 2 pence, 3 pence. You convert it to
now
Naira
that
value
you've mentioned elephants being killed, let me take you back to the lion that was killed in Jos Wildlife Park. Now, if we're talking protecting these animals from going extinct, and we're also being part of reducing the numbers, how would you address that issue that happened in Jos? Was that appropriate?
The lion that was killed in Jos was killed outside a protected area.
Okay.
It was just in a wildlife park, Jos Wildlife Park, which is the prerogative of Plateau State government.
Okay.
And the essence of creating that wildlife park is to, 1, for research, 2, for visits.
Okay.
Encourage visitation during public holidays, even other days, so that at least the people can have something to keep them busy outside the work hours. So that's just the purpose of that wildlife park. And another reason might be to encourage domestication outside the protected area. Because in wildlife you have the in situ conservation, you have the ex situ conservation. The aspect of the Jos Wildlife Park is ex situ conservation.
Okay.
That is conservation outside indigenous protected area.
Okay, now as
then
we
the
look...
killing of the lion, sometimes you weigh it. Animal life, human life.
Okay.
Which is most important to you. So if you feel human life is less important to you, then
what about tranquilizers?
Then allow the lion to mold the man.
A lot of people have argued that they would have
if human life is important to you, then you exterminate the lion to save the life of that one.
CG, sir, a lot of people have argued that tranquilizer would
I agree. Mistakes were committed.
Okay.
By the curators. There were mistakes.
Okay.
We cannot run away from that.
Okay.
But even then, these are things that are pardonable, because there are things that are beyond human thinking. So, looking at these mistakes, I think corrections have been made.
Okay.
And I'm assuring you, before such an incident can happen in Jos again, it will take a longer time.
Okay,
or anywhere in Nigeria.
Or anywhere in Nigeria.
Now, moving away from this, but still related, now we have regional laws, state laws now that are not necessarily in sync with what you have at the federal level. What are we really doing in order to synergize all of this?
The federal level has an advisory role on the state, looking at the 3 tiers of government. The federal government, as far as the constitution is concerned, the federal government can only advise states as far as environment issues are concerned. But for the issues of national park, which are the prerogative of the federal government and is on the exclusive legislative list of the constitution, that is the prerogative of the government. And the National Assembly, since it's coming, I think has reviewed a lot of laws of several environmental agencies like FRIN, NOSRA, NESRA, and even the National Parks Act. This is the 3rd law the National Park is having. We have had 36, we have had 46, we have also had 36.
CG, we're about to round up very briefly now. You have to tell us way forward if we're talking preserving, protecting our wildlife in Nigeria.
Yes, the way forward is looking at the key contribution of national parks and in line with our increasing population and the demand or our dependence on natural resources. There is need for the government to, 1, increase the number of national parks, which of course the government is doing. 10 states have indicated interest to hand over their game reserves to the federal government as national parks. Then there's also need for the government to improve the facilities in the national parks, which of course I have told you the government has also taken up in view of this partial commercialization aspect. And like I've told you, we are also discussing on how to improve the manpower in the national parks and also revive tourism.
And also encourage Nigerians to come visit.
Yes,
beautiful.
That's
the revival of the tourism we are working on. We are trying to revive tourism. But the challenge now is the fund. And the government alone cannot do it. So we are also looking elsewhere. So we have had a stakeholders dinner with all the embassies, most of the embassies that are in this country. And the essence of the dinner is to sensitize them so that they can assist us towards at least improving the situation in the national park. Because we believe that government alone cannot do it. And the practice elsewhere, Kenya, Tanzania, most of their national parks are not run on government funds. They are run on the revenue they have generated and donor agencies.
Trust me,
Why not
CG,
Nigeria?
That is definitely a step in the right direction when you talk about the need to promote, preserve and protect our wildlife parks in Nigeria. And we're hoping that a lot of people will begin to see it and appreciate it. And in a way, of course, if people patronize it, it will add value to our economy and well-being as Nigerians.
Thank you very much.
And yes, we have been speaking with Conservator General National Park Service of Nigeria, Ibrahim Musa Goni. Let's go on a break. After that, we still have more for you on Weekend Deal, so don't go anywhere.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail. It would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by
We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, if it's not Indomie, don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Taste is the difference.
Yes, difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
The Love Your House girl.
These girls out there gunning for Miss World. Who among them is as beautiful as you are?
They lure her out into a worse fate.
Free your mind, free, settle your mind.
They are only confident enough to woo house girls. They prowl like animals of prey. Sometimes they even get her to betray and lie against her oga or madam, or even harm the family she lives in. But what is their motive? Passion, love, affection, or keep a date with your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Bull, this week in the episode titled House Girl Warrior.
Look at me. There's no space here anymore. If you're looking for your own wife, go elsewhere and find a wife.
Yeah. You must not hear what I am talking. I was not your wife's.
Yeah. Go.
Over and out.
Royals, sir.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Discover the true diversity of Nigerian food as we share how we prepare, cook, and enjoy our local dishes. Delicious Niger, brought to you by Maggie, showing on these stations.
Thank you for staying with us. The show is Weekend Deal. Let's talk about vehicles now. We know vehicles are like humans. They need care, they need maintenance, and there are certain tools we must have in our vehicles in case of emergency. What are those tools? Let's find out from Safe Driving.
Staying safe on the road and arriving your destination is a priority for all. When driving either on a long journey or within your area, nobody ever expects the car to break down, run out of petrol, or the driver lost, or have an accident. But these things happen, and more often, we are left woefully ill-equipped to cope in such situations. But with a little planning ahead before driving out, you can put together a safety pack for your car. You might never use it, but it's good to know it's there in case of a breakdown or accidents or unforeseen circumstances.
Safety on our road is very important to all Nigerians. Road safety is an issue that must be taken seriously in Nigeria, especially this season that is raining. We have to be conscious and careful on how we drive on the road, making sure that we are safety compliant. Basically, our cars must be equipped with the normal safety tools, basic tools, before we, apply the roads. You need to have your jack and spare tire, your phone and charger so that you can call when necessary.
Hazard triangle, essentially for alerting other road users that your car has broken down. Replacement bulbs and fuses. Safety often depends on visibility, so the need for bulb and fuses for road visibility. Water, for topping up the radiator or windscreen washer bottle. Umbrella or waterproof, especially during the rainy season if you have to step outside to check the car. Mobile phone and charger, very important for communication when on emergency situation. Torch, don't rely on your smartphone because of the need to use the phone or the battery running down. Have a torch with you.
One or two lights may go off, and the fuse might be responsible. So that will help you to, put it on, replace the fuse there for you to continue your journey. The light food in the car to sustain you while you are down, your car is broken down. Spare tools like screwdrivers, pliers are very important.
Lastly, it is very important not to carry spare fuel for risk of fire, rather an empty petrol can, just in case you do run out of gas. The truth is, our most important tool for driving is to drive with care, obeying the rules of the road and concentrating for road safety.
Well, it's always good to obey traffic rules and having these essential things, in your car is very, very important because sometimes you can never predict or determine where your car should break down or will break down.
True, and especially that water. I was in a vehicle one time and there was, the vehicle started getting heated up, and thank God, the driver had water in the car. You never can tell when you would just need those tools. It's very important.
Well said. And Ruth, we have to move on to something big. Something big is coming. Labor Room reality TV show, which will feature about 37 contestants from different parts of Nigeria. They call them the governors, and they were on a courtesy visit recently. They paid a courtesy visit to the management of the Nigerian Television Authority, and that is exactly what we are going to feature on Mixed Grill.
A true situation with the actuality of existence in life is the backbone of reality, and these features are revealed in the TV presentations of shows having the realistic base, otherwise known as reality shows. They are of different kinds. There is the live musical presentations, or the in-house habitation of a collection of people from different tribes, lifestyles and habits. One to look out for is the upcoming Labor Room. The organizers of this upcoming package paid a courtesy visit to NTA, a partner in production. recently.
The Nigerian Rebirth Project Labor Room reality TV show, from my understanding, is a great platform to show Nigeria's strength in diversity. I believe that it will tell a complete story of Nigeria, considering the fact that each state of the Federation and the FCT will be duly represented. I commend the effort of the organizers of this TV reality show for coming up with this project at this time in the history of Nigeria. I believe this will tell a story of our unity in diversity that has kept this country together over the years.
Labor Room reality TV show and the Labor Room governors here present. I received this to the glory of the show.
The Labor Room TV show is about a coexisting structure for 37 Nigerian youth to coexist for 60 days, 24-hour television reality show in a mansion undisclosed. And they're going to go into a task of about 11 national issues. And they have to resolve them as governors representing their states. Their thinking will be that of the governance, ambassadorial governance given to them by their governors. They have been relating with their governors with their states in the past 6 months. Some of them have been trained and coached by their governors. Some of them have been sent into the government house to live with the governor to see how to live like a governor. We had an open ground for all Nigerian youth, and then we went into an audition, and they came out tops representing each state. We want to show that intellectually we can fathom out a new Nigeria, rebirth a new nation. And that is why we are strongly telling them while they are in the mansion, they can have all the 3 E's of entertainment, education, and enlightenment, but they must not forget why they are there, which is to give birth to a new nation.
We're doing the unveil on the Sunday, 17th September here at ICC, where that's going to be the first day where it's going to be unveiled by our royal father. From then, and they'll move them to the mansion, where they'll spend 60 days living together, eating together, talking about national issues. We have the Nigerian Civil Defense. The Commandant General gave us his personnel. They are there, armed personnel. They are securing the venue and they are securing the contestants. And NTA also are there for us, making sure that we reach out to the public. And we thank you all for showing us the love and support as we all care to move this nation forward.
Watch out for Labor Room, an experience that both the housemates and viewers will live to remember.
Labor Room there, a fantastic initiative, the first national development TV reality show in Africa where nations will be born. You know, it's just a good initiative having young people come together, look at issues of national concerns, and together they will push.
Yes, and the good thing about the mainstream media today is dominated with, you know, reality TV programs. And then when you have something of this magnitude, you know, it's just it's a shift away from the normal, you know, entertainment aspect of things that you have, maybe like other Big Brother Africa, Big Brother Europe, and all of that. But this is when you bring people together, young Nigerians, with fresh ideas to promote national unity and development. And, you know, it's a commendable effort.
Every initiative have a purpose. Now, this is their own purpose, you get. So it's a good thing, and we commend them, and NTA is proud to be your media and their media partners. Let's move on now. We take healthy living, and it's all about a healthy lifestyle. I like it.
A healthy lifestyle is a way of living to prevent one from dying early or developing serious illnesses. Healthy lifestyle is not a way of taking pleasure out of your life or taking the things you love away from you, but it's just for you to make a few changes that will help you to live your life better, or that will help you to get better outcome from your life, which will be of benefit to you and to your family members. It involves making deliberate choices to keep diseases that could impact on your life at bay. And some of these diseases include chronic illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, cancers. One of the things you do is to make healthy choices. These choices include physical activity or exercise, good nutrition, you avoid smoking, you quit alcohol intake or reduce alcohol intake to a minimum, to the barest minimum. Reduce sodas and caffeine. Take a lot of water. Get good rest. Avoid stress. Make sure you maintain a good nutrition. Eat well. For exercise, make sure you have a good exercise routine. If what you do makes you sit a lot, that means we're talking about sedentary lifestyle, try and get physically active. For in the office, if your work involves you sitting a lot, you can make sure you take frequent breaks of maybe every hour or every 2 hours, and try and walk around. Also, it is healthy for you to take your breaks. When you take your breaks, you're able to move around to improve your circulation. You're able also to take breaks and prevents you from having mental fatigue. And also, it helps you to be able to take physically active. Now, apart from at work, now we need to have regular exercise routines of at least 2.5 hours a week of moderate physical activity. If it's going to be vigorous or intense, maybe in terms of running, in terms of going on a treadmill, then 75 minutes is recommended. But if you're doing moderate, such as brisk walking, then you are good with 2.5 hours a week. 30 minutes a day, at least 5 times a week, will help us to keep going. Now, in terms of good nutrition, how do we mean good nutrition? Good nutrition means eating the right amount of food in the right proportion. And in terms of the right amount of food, what are we talking about? We cannot joke with fruits and vegetables. They are an essential part of good nutrition and good diet because they contain essential vitamins and minerals that help to boost our immunity and keep diseases away, and also helps to facilitate the absorption of the essential nutrients. So, and how much of fruits and vegetables do we need? We need 5 portions at least of fruits and vegetables. And what do we mean by a portion? A moderately sized apple can be referred to as a portion. So in terms of, relatively, you can compare maybe your carrots or whatever. Just try and estimate anything that is in proportion to an apple. Then you're looking at 5 portions of different types of fruits and vegetables. And it's important for us to try and to have a variety of them in terms of the colors, in terms of the type, because they all are rich in different nutrients. Sedentary lifestyle, or someone that is not physically active, is at risk of developing illnesses such as hypertension, diabetes. But when you are physically active, you're able to keep a lot of these diseases at bay. So if what they have been exposed to is eating junks, then we can't tell them they are flouting the rules because they don't even know otherwise. So we need to educate them and be role models for them at school, at home, on what healthy living is. And not just educating them and being role models, but also we need to engage them. Engage means, for instance, maybe in the process of shopping. When you're going to the shops to buy the vegetables and fruits, involve them. When you are drawing up the list of what you need to buy, the shopping list involves them. Let them be a part of it. When you are making menus for the family, let them be a part of it. In preparation, let them be a part of it. In planning, let them be a part of it. So they are parts of making healthy meals. So they understand. So they have become to see it as a healthy lifestyle. Also, one of the ways of engaging children now, which is being done in schools and being advised that parents can also adopt, is having a lot of games. There are so many games if you go on the internet that have to do with healthy lifestyle for children. We can get them to, color from younger ones, which involves coloring, to puzzles for older ones. So these are ways of educating the younger ones about healthy living and engaging them. If you are living a healthy lifestyle, you will not be obese. So if you're obese, then one of the things that you need that is important for you to do is to live a healthy lifestyle. However, someone can be obese and start living a healthy lifestyle, but is yet to lose the weight. Now, with obesity has a lot of negative effects on health. It affects adults and it also affects children. I mean, it affects obesity. You know, you're looking at high cholesterol. You're looking at atherosclerosis, which is the narrowing of the blood vessels, which can increases the risk of coronary heart diseases and stroke. Also, there's something that happens in obesity that we call the metabolic syndrome, in which it is a combination of 3 diseases: obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. So obesity increases the risk of so many diseases, and you can't but pay attention to it. It also causes breathing problems, and in the same way it affects children. One of the things that you need to do every day, which I mean in our daily living, you need to make sure that you're physically active. From when you wake up in the morning till when you sleep, make sure that you're physically active. Make sure you are conscious of it and you're aware of it. 2, you are what you eat. You need to eat properly. You need to eat well. It's important to take breakfast. We will not starve ourselves because we are living healthy. No, that is not healthy eating. Healthy eating is you eat the right amounts of food in right proportions.
Well, I'm sure we all can make that little change in, lifestyle. Drink more water, exercise, take a walk. Of course, I do exercise, but not as much as I would. I mean, I would love it.
When last?
Just this morning.
Oh, Suleiman. Suleiman.
Just this morning.
No comment, but yes, live right, eat right, and you stay healthy and avoid those diseases, especially the non-communicable diseases. All right, let's move on. We go on a break. More for you on The Deal.
Okay, just before that break, let's head to the street right now. And we're asking a simple question. I know for a fact that you really don't like natural hair.
Who told you?
I know.
I can take this off.
I've never seen you with your natural hair before. But which one do you prefer? Is it the one with the wigs or your natural hair? Let's just say this.
Very conscious of your children.
To my house. Honestly, I would prefer my wife and my spouse to be on our natural hair.
Why?
The reasons why I say so is because when you look at the olden days, early 80s in Nigeria, when you see women carrying their natural hair, you appreciate them looking natural. That is the African culture and African lifestyle. But nowadays, now that people say we are in digital world or computer world, you see ladies carrying all sorts of attachment whereby we don't even know where the hairs are coming from. It looks, honestly, I am not the type that appreciate women carrying on artificial hair attached to their hair. I said so because when you look at the olden days in Nigeria, you see our mothers, our sisters, early 80s, they are carrying their natural hair. And if you see them at that time, you really appreciate them.
For me, I go in between. I love the natural, God-given hair. It's cheap, it's clean, and it shows her innermost beauty. So I feel a woman, whenever she's choosing, she has to use a lot of logic, precision, in between costs and what fits her.
Natural hair. I think it's cost effective for one, and you learn to style your hair in so many different ways. You don't have to have extensions all the time because that actually spoils the hair, and you get to grow it longer.
See, these days, a lot of things are going on. I mean, with what people are saying, some says that if you go on buying some of these kitty they put on their eggs, you go there buying things or maybe other humans said that could not be natural or from the other world, and this is a problem. That's one side. On the other hand, I think switching of hair or having a different kind of style is also good because sort of it makes you more beautiful, more attractive. And with that, I, for one, would prefer my wife to go on with the the one she feels she's right. But to me, I want her to look good always. So whenever I see her, if the hair is okay, I am happy.
So you're both on the natural and unnatural hairstyle?
Yeah.
Okay,
but I would prefer her using the weave-on type instead of going to buy the hair they sell in the market.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm wearing a natural dread. You understand? I go to the salon twice or thrice in a month to wash it and to lock it. You understand? And I like it when I pour water on it. I feel good with it. You understand? I don't need to go out and buy attachment or like start fixing my hair.
I prefer the natural hair because the natural hair will reduce the cost. Like as a core member now, how I can't really afford, paying for the artificial hair. It's very costly. At times you see all this kind of, with their price tag and all those things. So when it's natural hair, it reduces the cost and it makes the man kind of happy and spend less.
Because you said my choice, I would have said both, but because I don't have a very good hair, so I go for unnatural to cover up the hair texture. Why? It covers the whole thing. I don't have a good hair texture. It gets terrible after 2 days, even after making weaves. So imagine me going on natural, it would be disaster. People might not really be happy with it, seeing me that way. I may not look so good. So I try to cover up with artificial hair. That's why I prefer the unnatural hair. But I get jealous of people who can really maintain the natural thing.
You still have the right.
It sounds really good. Very conscious of your choice.
Okay, Ruth, you were going to take off your wig. I don't
Sorry,
know.
Ma,
I don't know if
that was a wig.
I don't know if
Oh
it's
my
attached or not. But I'm waiting for you to do that. Serious, I'm
So
daring
you want to see my
I'm
natural
daring
hair?
you. Yes. After all, I'm sure a lot of men will agree with me that
I don't know
women
why
look
all the
more
men here. There are a lot of men behind the
beautiful,
camera.
more natural with their natural hair. So
they've been on my case.
can
I
you
won't
just
take it
do
off.
us the honor?
No.
Try.
No.
You can do it.
Let's move on.
You can do it.
You know, they say hair is the beauty of a woman. So if it's natural, feel free, make it neat. That's the most important thing. If it's a weave on or a wig on, just make it look nice.
Well, the most important thing is that you are comfortable with it. And trust me, I will certainly appreciate you with your natural hair. Okay, move on now.
Let's go on that break. This is the time we need that break more now. We need it now.
Employment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, it's not Indomie. Don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Taste is the difference.
Yes, difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer,
My particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which levels? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Discover the true diversity of Nigerian food as we share how we prepare, cook, and enjoy our local dishes. Delicious Niger, brought to you by Maggie, showing on these stations.
Another edition of TV Guide magazine is out with revealing accounts of trending stories. With the dwindling oil revenue, he says there is no reason to worry.
We strongly believe that culture is Nigerians' new oil, and we're going to show that by creating wealth, our art and culture will be a statement for all of us.
Our cover story is on Otumba Olusegun Runchewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. For upcoming TV presenters, Elegant Elizabeth Banu tells you what it takes. A peep into the activities of the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, a mandate being fulfilled. A trip to the Yankari Games Reserve at Safari in Bauchi State brings you closer to nature. And the Oshun Oshogbo Festival, our culture, our pride. Professor Adiku, the Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, tells us what it means to manage a university, plus our regular features, star profile, media issues, relationships, young minds, entertainment, sports, and lots more. Pick your copy now at the vendors or at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's talk books. You know that books help us understand and appreciate situations, better situations that we probably have not experienced in our life. So we are looking at Don't Die on a Wednesday, written by Michael Afenfe.
When it comes to football, you cannot take away the passion. But when it comes to books, you must have a flair for reading. Juxtaposing fiction with sports was the primary aim of the author of this captivating book, Don't Die on Wednesday, by Michael Afenfe. A sports fiction, the first of its kind, explores the rich and beautiful world of football, following the life of Bubaraye Daboui, a rising football star and Tottenham Hotspur top striker. Bubaraye's career unravels at a game against the crack Manchester United squad when he scores the goal of the century, which resulted to an injury. Unable to play professional football, he is torn between his resentful wife and a desire to return to Nigeria. Against the odds, on his return, he became a mentor to a young player and brings his soccer dream alive, leading to unfortunate events in his marital and family life.
Don't Die on Wednesday is actually a metaphor signifying Wednesday as a very important day for Bubaraye, Wednesday as a very important day for Nikiwe, his wife, Wednesday as a very important day for Narich, because everyone wants to take Wednesday as something that they should get. It's actually a day that the author sees as the most tragic day for Bubaraye. It's the day his dream collapsed.
There's the unifying factor about football all across the world. There's hardly anywhere you go, any nation you go to where they're not soccer crazy or football crazy. It's a story about life, you know. The challenges people face, issues people come in contact with, marriage, falling in love, falling out of love, having children, a couple of issues that the society is plagued with today, kidnapping and all that. So it's a lot, and not just about soccer. Maybe the context was football, you know, but the lessons from the book
are lessons for everybody.
Don't Die on Wednesday is a book filled with suspense. The characters in the novel all act out their moves in the two halves of the game on the pitch.
What is that pitch of life that plays the first half using the human cycle, human absurdism into football? What is that yellow card that Nikiwe got? What is that red card that she got via her attitude? The 90 minutes of life play is being put to test. And outside the pitch, Michael has been able to, bring that look, it goes beyond what you see in the pitch. Do I leave it with the hope of scoring the goals of life? Or do I leave it with leaving people with this perception that I was deceitful, I was wicked, and all of that?
The author uses the appropriate football language with the mention of real football personalities that the reader can relate with. The use of poem at the start of the two parts in the book depicts the literary style of the novel.
And then the poem, of course, was like a lamentation, from his mother, because she was scared that something was going to happen on a Wednesday, and maybe that Wednesday shouldn't come at all.
The novel Don't Die on Wednesday, through the main character Bubarai, reveals how people deal with post-traumatic situations when they're confronted with them, as the novel attempts to be as true to life by highlighting the theme of contentment, sacrifice, desperation, among others.
The theme of crime, where we found out that amidst the fact that Nikiwe committed a huge crime, which is infidelity, Michael wanted to draw our attention that too much greed spoils the broth. The whole value of appreciating the little that you have achieved and how to build it.
Life sometimes can throw you difficult balls, but life also gives you second chances. And so when you think that all hope is lost, if you search deep inside of you, maybe there's something, there's another voice saying to you that you can make it, or there's another opportunity that is blossoming and opening right before your eyes. But as long as you're in that defeatist mood, then you don't see it. So if we can look past our hurt, look past our disappointments, look past our failure, then there's always an opportunity for us to achieve something.
Overall, Don't Die on Wednesday is a story of the game of life, the unpredictable moments, the trials we encounter, and the inevitable, as no one knows how the game will end.
Don't Die on Wednesday there by Michael Afenfia. And yes, we're all players. That's what Shakespeare says. All men, the world is a stage, and all men and women are mere players. And this is one great book, a story of passion. And yes, you see your reality staring at you. Let's move on. Still related to sports, we'll be having a discussion right now on raising the bar of the Nigerian Professional Football League after this background report.
Then, as you see on Sadia, probing, asking a question or two. An opportunity by Imba.
The 2016-2017 Nigerian Professional Football League season came to an end last week Saturday, with Plateau United of Jos emerging the champion of the Nigerian Professional Football League for the first time. However, gone are the thrills, interest and excitement that used to be the bedrock of the Nigerian League in the yesteryears, with fearsome football teams such as Stationery Stores of Lagos, Julius Berger Football Club, Abiola Babes of Abeokuta, New Nigerian Bank, Bendel Insurance, Ranchers Bees of Kaduna, IICC, Leventis United, BCC Lions of Boko, among others. Not only were these teams great and fearsome, the rivalry between and amongst the clubs draws intimidating fanatical fans into the various stadia across the country. The story today seems to have taken a downturn, while fans in those days would troop to the stadium in their large numbers to watch and support not only their teams but their local football idols, such as the late Muda Lawal,
Mathematical Shagun Odegbami, Christian Chuku, Felix Owolabi, late Stephen Keshi, late Rashidi Yekini, Daniel the Bull Amokachi, Moses Pako, Raymond King, amongst others. The present Nigerian League seems not to have been able to recreate those kind of rivalry and seems to lack quality players the fans can identify with. Unlike in the past, the stands have since lost the fans and the kind of domination enjoyed by the Nigerian teams on the continent, as well as West African sub-region, are no longer there. What are the challenges and how can we turn back the hands of time to raise the bar of the Nigerian Professional Football League?
It would have been a superstar for highlight. Just watch this turn. It was fabulous.
Well, that background report set the pace for our conversation in the studio. Yes, the objective has always been on the things that we all can do to raise the bar of the Nigerian Professional Football League. And to do that, we have joined us in the studio. Haruna Ilerika is a former technical advisor, FC Abuja, and also a football analyst. You're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
Haruna Ilerika. There was a name like that in the past.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Late. He died about 7-8 years ago at the age of 58.
Okay. Now, joining him, we have Saliu Abubakar, Chief Operation Officer, League Management Company of Nigeria. You're welcome to our studios.
It's a pleasure being here with you.
Okay, let me start by congratulating you on the successful conclusion of the 2016-2017 NPLF.
Thank you very much. A lot of work went into it.
Okay.
From us, from our partners, from all that is involved, all the stakeholders.
Okay.
It was a worthwhile season because...
okay, how would you assess the season? Are you satisfied?
Yes, I think it was one of the most competitive seasons we've had in recent times. Could see that on the last day with the last kick of the ball, that was when we knew the champion. And beyond that, we had 6 games on the final day, which could determine the teams going down on relegation, which shows the measure of the competition that we've had.
Interesting. Now, coming back to you, Haruna Ilerika, you also play football at some point in your professional career. Now, talk to us if we are really there when we talk about standard in our football league, Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Without mining wells, I think the LMC has done very, very well. If there's anything we could give them, we call it excellent. If you look at where we are coming from and where we are in the last, just within a minor of 3-4 years, a lot has happened. Honestly, if anybody could tell me that Nigerian League will come this way under a very short period, I think I will be a bit skeptical about it. We have seen an innovation that is beyond what we call the 90th wonder of the world, because there's a lot of improvement in terms of organization, coordination, planning, and all form of the paraphernalia of the game. Even the turnout of spectators to the stadium is amazing these days.
It has
to the extent that even these days, matches are played in the night, and you can see the kind of trooping out people come and watch evening matches in Nigeria. It goes to tell you that the LMC have done very, very well.
And I know there's a cash reward for the home team that manages to attract spectators to the stadium. Was that an incentive that really paid off?
Yeah, I think so. Beyond that, like you said, we tried to clean up the game and tried to make it a bit more interesting. And the major focus for us was to get the fans back, get them back so that we'll be able to sell it more, both within and outside Nigeria. And I can tell you confidently that the fans are back. If you were in Jos, the atmosphere was electric. The whole stadium was filled up. People outside the stadium were probably twice the people inside. And we had the same in so many other venues this year. And we have less crowd trouble now than it used to be. We have less contentious issues. So I think
contentious issues. What do you mean?
He knows.
But I don't know.
Before, you find out that a lot of boardroom points were given before, and a lot of matches are taken to the arbitration. You know, we need to get the points off the pitch after playing 90 minutes. They will write petitions, and we won this match, we didn't win that match. We were able to put the right structures so that everybody knows exactly what will happen if they breach the rules. And we have been standing firm on that, and that's why mostly we don't have much incidences like
what about refereeing? Because I know in week 29, 30 and 31 there were some irregularities which LMC had to suspend about 7 referees.
Yeah, well, you see, we have to keep abreast of happenings around the league. We monitor all the matches. By the way, it's just 10 matches in a weekend, and that's not too much for us to look at. We have delegates. We have, in every game, we have about 8 people that we send from the LMC to make sure that things work according to plan. And that particular period you're talking about, we were not satisfied with the handling of those matches by the referees, and we had to complain to the NFF, who appoints the referees. And we said, look, these people have performed below our standard, and we don't want them in our matches again. And that gingered the rest. And you could see, since then, we've not had much incidences. Officiating has been good this season. There's a lot of room for improvement, just like every other thing.
Okay.
He said we have gone far, and he's giving us excellent. I think we, on our part, think the league is still work in progress. There's still so much we need to achieve in terms of sponsorship, in terms of the quality of play, in terms of the facilities, putting the game on TV. We've just signed with the NTA.
Okay, I'm sure you talk to us further about the agreement to, broadcast this matches live with the NTA. But Mr. Haruna Ilerika, he talked about the standard, the quality of football on the pitch. Are you really satisfied with what you are seeing as an ex-footballer? Because sometimes people are quick to point to the wonderful goal scored by Olatunbosun, which happened to be CNN at some point, the goal of the week for CNN.
Worldwide.
Okay. Now, is that a reflection of what we are seeing now on the pitch in terms of quality of play?
Well, a lot have gone into that. First of all, let's look at it technically. The coaches these days, they are getting abreast with the development in the game. And if coaches are on the right track, it's natural the team system, the system of play within a team, will definitely reflect. Because if anything goes wrong with the technical setup of a club, definitely on the pitch of play, you will not appreciate what the team is going to, the performance they are going to put on. A lot of goals has been scored, a lot of technical formation, artistic display of talent has been, you watch it day in, day out. I think, to me, things are getting improved day in, day out. We want to look at a situation whereby if the pitch itself hates what is called good football. If the pitch is not good, then you are in trouble. But mostly, if you check all the stadia that we have today across the globe, the LMC, one good thing about it is you watch it. Let me just give you the very closest example. Niger Tornadoes in the last 2 seasons have been playing away from home.
Yes, unfortunately, because I hardly go to the stadium these days because that's my team.
Yeah, Lokoja has been their home in the last 2 seasons.
Yes.
Despite all health, and they knew it that yes, unless something drastic is done to their stadium, nothing can bring them back to Mina. And that is because for you to see good football, for you to be encouraged to go to the stadium, you have to watch the scene. Even the environment, the pitch environment, it makes a lot of meaning to the player. As a player, when you get to the pitch, what you first of all think, oh, on this pitch today, I'm going to show this skill, because even the simplest thing, ball control, if the pitch is not good, how do you do that? And before you know it, it will not encourage the fan to be able to see good footballing. And that is why these days you can see a lot of beautiful goals scored. You can see a lot of players making a kind of runs that, yes, you'll be asking yourself, is this happening in Nigeria? And to me, honestly, it has been very good.
Trust me, if as a football fan, all I want to see is that beautiful game being played on our pitches. And now, coming back to you, a lot of teams, in fact, it is on record that about 16 teams in the Nigerian Professional League are owned by the state governments. Only 4 are owned by the private sector. Now, what needs to happen in order to change this phenomena?
Well, this is a question that we have been having serious thoughts about. At the point we wrote to the owners of the clubs, that is the state governments, and told them the benefits of divesting in these clubs. Because clubs cannot really be truly called professional if they are still being funded by government. We need to take them out, but it has to be a gradual process. And we told them the steps to be taken to take these clubs out. I was just discussing before I came here with somebody, and I told him how viable, how commercially viable clubs in Nigeria could be. For example, you have big clubs like Shooting Stars, like Rangers International, Ayimba, and Kano Pillars. These are clubs that can stand on their own. We have so many others like that. They have fan base who can sustain them. They have limitless opportunities like merchandising, like so many other areas. So we're trying to interest them. And of course, yes, up initially when we came as LMC, we set out what we call the club licensing. And that defined the minimum requirements for administration, for facilities, for youth development, for running the clubs. And part of it is that all the clubs have to be now run professionally. Okay. And that's the way we're looking at it going forward.
Okay. Just recently, in fact, as a matter of fact, just about last week, you signed an agreement with the NTA to broadcast live matches, Premier League live matches. Now, what are we expecting from this agreement? What impact will they have on the league?
The agreement we signed was for producing the matches.
Okay.
As of now, NTA has the capacity, they have the network, they have the infrastructure, they have the personnel to produce all our matches. We're playing 10 games, like I said earlier on, every weekend across the country. NTA has the spread to make sure that all these matches are produced up to the standard we require. And that's why we came to NTA, and fortunately you guys agreed and we're together now. From next season, we're going to see these matches, hopefully all the 10 matches live on TV. And that will eliminate a lot of things. That will eliminate the problem of officiating, facilities, that you will now see the good standard of play that we have. And it will expose our players, it will give opportunities to the teams, and the potential is great.
Okay.
It's enormous.
It's good that this agreement with LMC and NTA is working to, improve the standard of, our league in Nigeria. But there is also another partnership which has to do with LMC and La Liga. That's the Spanish league. What is the impact of that on the Nigerian league?
You see, for an ordinary citizen, you may not see the impact. The organization itself believes that when you have a joint venture with an organization, because no matter how, if you look at Wateroni theory of underdevelopment in Africa, it has to do with a symbiotic relationship between the Western world and the underdeveloped world. And that is why the LMC has found it necessary to work in partnership with La Liga, who has a very vast experience that spans over 100 years. And let me give you the smallest example that I am very familiar with before you ask the main man. Just about barely 4 or 5 months ago, we saw the La Liga LMC Under-15 tournament that the LMC organized across the globe for all the Premier League teams. That is the first of its kind in this country, and the benefits instantly after the competition. These boys went on a training tour in Europe. At least it's a very big experience to start with. It boils down to the fact that youth development must be entrenched in all these clubs so that players can nurture talent from ages up to where they can become a full-fledged professional in their team.
Okay. Let me add to that. You see, La Liga probably now is the biggest league in the world. If you look at the Champions League and the European Champions League and the Europa Cup,
they've been dominating in recent time.
Not of recent, in the last 12 years, they have won more than 10 times, you know, between La Liga clubs. So, and then off the pitch, La Liga has been really successful business-wise. So we said, okay, we want to be up there too. We want to be the best, of course, in Africa. And we want to be among the best in the world. So naturally, we partner with them and then share ideas with them, share working relationships, and share opportunities with them, and see how we can also raise our own standards to that place.
Okay.
That is why we partnered with La Liga. Secondly, immediate benefits from last season, we took an NPFL All-Stars team to Spain, and we played against Valencia, we played against Atletico Madrid, we played against Malaga. I won't forget that game because we lost 4-1. But our players played against Valencia. It was at the last moment they beat us 2-1. We played against Atletico Madrid, which was the European champion at that time, also 2-1.
But I'm sure you will agree with me that a crop of the players that were selected for those encounters are relatively not known to Nigerians. In the past, you have the likes of Odegbami, Chuku, but these days, hardly you can say, oh, this is a star in this team. What is really happening?
Maybe because you're only interested in Niger Tornadoes. But I tell you,
that's not the point. That is not the point.
There are a lot of stars in the league. Now, we have players who have made name. If you follow the league on TV or radio, on the newspapers, online, you will know that there are a lot of stars that have been created. Unfortunately for us, anytime a big star is coming up, he plays 1, 2, 3 good games, he gets a manager, and the next thing you hear is that he's trying to go abroad.
Now that's the problem.
For example, now Stephen Ode was amongst the highest goal scorers. He was leading the pack. Then in the last 3 games, he now went to Switzerland. And that was how he lost out. Because the guy behind him now overtook him. Antonio Potu from Lobby Stars. So that is the problem we're having. The moment a star is being profiled to become big, he will move abroad.
Okay, is that, of course, you will agree with me that that is not unconnected to the poor remuneration of players?
No, I don't agree, because when we came, the players were earning 30,000, 50,000. Today, there are players earning 750 a month, 1 million in a month.
Okay.
We said at the inception, we said the minimum amount any player could get was 150,000 naira. Now they are taking 750, 500,000 naira every month.
But we still have situations
the money
whereby
is good enough for them to stay, you know, and a lot of the stars are staying back because of that.
But we still have situations whereby players are being owed salaries.
No, the attraction, before I get to that, the attraction for them is they don't get a look at by the national team handlers if they are not playing abroad. But now, over time, you know, since the times of Keshi, players now are being selected from the league. So that is gradually coming down. And that's why the players now are staying. And there are a lot of players who should have gone out to smaller countries and earn small money. They're staying here back because they earn big money here in Nigeria.
Well, very critical is the issue of the fan base. Of course, you want your stadium filled to capacity because that is when a lot of people will be attracted to the stadium. But these days, you have the matches being played at the same time where English Premier League is on TV. And then instead of people going to the stadium, they prefer to watch the matches on television at the viewing centers. Now, what needs to happen to completely change this, mentality?
It's about orientation. You know, the LMC did one thing that I quite appreciate in the last 2 years. The timing of the match. For us to have this crowd at the stadium, sometimes the matches are played at a time whereby it will not coincide with some of these big matches at the European this thing. That is the advent of telecommunication at that level brought a lot of problem to the third world countries. It's not only third world countries, even the developed world. For example, if I ask you now, how many matches in the German Bundesliga did you know? You will not be able to answer, because most of the matches that we watched are mostly La Liga and the Premiership, and these are the two most vibrant leagues in the world. You don't know what is happening in China, you don't know what is happening in India, so also in Nigeria. But here, the orientation is becoming a bit different, because what mostly drove away these fans from the stadium is, one, the attitude of referees and hooliganism. Okay. For example, now when you are talking of a 60-year-old in the Premiership, you can see a woman of about 55 watching a match at the stand with his children. But here, if you go there, some kind of hooligans will just behave in a way that you'll be asking yourself, then why am I here? So all this type of orientation are the things that drove away the fans in the first place. Okay. Now, people are beginning to appreciate their own. People are beginning to see that, yes, it's like the scenario is becoming more different. But despite all this, there is need for an effective policing. Okay. Because 50 policemen cannot do anything in a volatile crowd of where Kano Pillar is playing Enyimba in Kano. Even the security system within the state, okay, they know the intricacies behind all these type of matches. Okay. So I want to appreciate the fact that they are working towards it, and we still need more of these things to be done, especially at the angle of security and proper orientations to these supporters. Okay, security, these supporters are being propelled.
Orientation, sponsorship, and
some of these supporters are being propelled by some club administrators, if in an attempt to win at home at all costs. This win at home or syndrome.
But thank God, that syndrome is gradually
fading out.
You see a lot of teams, going away, playing away matches now, and emerging victorious at the end of the day. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sharing your thought with us. And indeed, it's our league, and we must do whatever we can in order to, improve the standard, in order for all of us to appreciate it. Personally, I love watching live football matches, and my darling team, thank God we were not relegated.
You'll be with them next season.
Yes, I've been chatting with...
Just make sure your stadium is okay, because without a good stadium, we can't take
I'm sure the concerned authorities are doing something about it.
They are planning to go back.
Yes, I've been chatting with Salihu Abubakar. He is the Chief Operation Officer, LMC, that is a league management company. And together with Haruna Ilerika, is the former technical advisor, FC Abuja, and also a footballer analyst. Let's go on a break. After that, we still have more for you on Weekend Deal.
We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, if it's not Indomie, don't call it Indomie. Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste. Taste is the difference. Yes. Difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie noodles. Tasty nutrition. Good for you.
Thank you so much. It's Weekend Deal, but this is where we say thank you so much for being part of the deal for the weekend. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope to see you next week, hopefully by the grace of God. So take care of yourself and have a blissful week ahead.
Bye-bye.